So you've asked many questions, personal and work related, to find out more about me. So I'm here to share some of the revealings of being Brie and a realtor here in the Lakes region. I would have to say my favorite memories on the job. I remember how, there's two. If you don't know me, I'm not the biggest hugger. And we sold a house for some clients and it was a really special scenario and they gave me a hug and I enjoyed it for once. And that was super special. And then other memories I have, there's been quite a few properties I've sold on the lake, and at the walkthrough, loons would go by and do their calling sound, which I love. And to me, it was always just this symbolism, this good, omen for the new owners coming through and those, passing it on to them. And I just love those memories of being out, letting the new buyers tour the home just before they're about to go sign, and the loons come out and do their calling. And I've sent videos to the sellers, saying that they're saying goodbye, and I've really enjoyed that sentimental piece for memories. Would have to be when I started in real estate. My career before was a manager at a local restaurant, local business in New Hampshire. And when I told my parents that I was gonna go out and become a realtor, they're gonna watch this and hate me, but they did not approve. They did not think that was a great idea. They knew and were true that there's many realtors in the market, and they didn't see, where I was gonna go with it. And for me, it was a struggle to not have that support. And it was a big jump and leap of faith, given that you don't get paid till it's at the closing table, and that would be for a while. So they made it clear that if it didn't work out, I cannot come knocking on mom and dad's door for support financially. They wished me the best, but they disapproved. So my most proud moment was once I had, it wasn't like a moment in time. I just have now proven that I was going to do things differently than they had seen other realtors do, and that I was going to be successful in this industry. So I would say my proud moment one was that they were able to see the success that I was having and making for myself in this industry. That was probably, one of my most proudest moments. I had two, I guess. One, I was meeting someone at a property that I had never met before, wanted to see some land, and once they pulled up, I kind of got some weird vibes. We parked along the street, and then you had to walk into the land, which was very wooded, a lot of acreage, and I realized I was by myself with this man I didn't know, so I got super nervous and declined to go in with him to the land, and he insisted that I go in, and he didn't know the area, and walk the land. And I still to this day don't know if he was, good guy, bad guy, what it was. I just did not go in. Felt extremely uncomfortable and pressured, but made up an excuse and ended up leaving. Gave him the packet of information I brought to him. And the second experience I had was with Stephanie on the team. We went to a property in Alton and came to find out that the brothers who owned it, one of them strongly disapproved of the sale. And we showed up and we were scared for our lives that we were gonna get shot off the property. So that was probably the most scariest experience, and we had to decline taking that listing. The other brothers wanted us to take it, and respectfully, we were uncomfortable with the situation, and all in all, had to turn it down. It was one of the first listings that I ever had in the industry, and another situation where I had a Zillow call, talked to these people on the phone, and met them at the property. And before they showed up, I realized I did not know them well enough. I didn't know if it was just a gentleman showing up, a woman showing up, a couple, how old they were. It was hard via the voice on the other side of the phone for me to determine. And being new in real estate, I was like, yeah, this buyer's coming that's $1.5 million, looking to buy. Yes, I'll meet you. And yes, I won't think twice about it until I'm there. And I'm like, I'm all alone at the end of this road at a dead end on a beautiful waterfront property listed around 1.6, 1.7 at the time. And so before they came, I was panicking and I looked for my seller's knives in the kitchen and found a knife in the kitchen and put it up my sleeve of my sweater, of my jacket, just in case I was prepared. And these people knock on the front door, knives in my sleeve, and they're 80 years old, nice young couple. Not gonna need that knife. And I kind of forgot about the knife, and I'm walking around because I had it tucked in, was just kind of holding it like this and with my fist up my sleeve, and I'm showing them and using my hands, and the knife is sticking out. And they saw, we never talked about it. They ended up buying it, but they bought something else with me, but I forgot it was up there, and they definitely saw it. And I don't know if they feared for their lives or thought about how I was fearing before they got there. But that was probably the moment I felt the most silly, when they showed up and I had this knife up my sleeve. The coolest thing I've ever seen on the job was just last year. Steph and I were somewhere and I didn't know what a trophy room was. I was told, this is my husband's trophy room. I want him to show it to you during our tour. I did not realize a trophy room was a room full of their deer heads, their stuff, all the stuff killed that they had. I envisioned trophies from some sport. So lo and behold, this massive room opens up that's like a 40 by 30, and they have all of these animals filled to the brim of all the kills that they had done all around North America, specifically. It was, to my surprise, that it wasn't a room full of trophies. So another silly moment, but it was very different to see and unique as well. I was at a property and I hear this splash. We're almost done showing the buyers this property and I hear this splash, and the woman rolls her eyes and she's like, oh, here he goes. And I'm like, who goes what? And her husband, at every property they go to, jumps in the water. He's a swimmer, a really good swimmer. I don't know if that's a hobby of his, but he dives down and pulls up from the bottom of the lake what he finds, and then is evaluating what it looks like, feels like, smells like, I don't know, to see the quality of the bottom of the lake way out. I mean, he dived where the swim raft is, 12 feet down, and pulls it up and is examining the sand multiple times over and over under the water. So that was interesting. And he was not in a bathing suit, but she says he does this quite often at properties. His wife said that. So I found it interesting that he doesn't wear a bathing suit to showings, but it was funny, and one of the oddest things I've ever seen at a showing. Made lots of mistakes. That's how you learn and become more successful. But if I had to share a funny mistake that I made that turned out to be a great mistake, was my best friend reached out to me and she said, I want to see this property on this road in Moltenboro. Fantastic, great, I'll set up the showing. It'll be our first time buying a home. Super excited to bring my friend around. So I meet her at her house, her mom, her brother, her sister, and her soon-to-be husband. We all got in the car together. We started driving to the property. And I set it all up with the listing agent, and we're in her mom's car, all going together, and her mom drives cruising right by the property. And I was like, you passed the house. And my friend's like, no, it's down here. And I was like, oh no. Instant panic. I scheduled the wrong house to be shown. I guess there was another house on the same road for sale at the same time, but I thought we were going to the other one. So I said, well, not today. We're not going to the other house today. We're going to the one back there. And at the time, she hadn't even really looked at it, considered it. So, I'm panicking and I'm like super embarrassed. My best friend asked me, she probably thinks I'm this awful realtor now that doesn't know what she's doing because I scheduled the wrong property. All of us are together and now I'm saying, pretend this is the right house. I didn't, want to cancel the appointment. They're like, let's just go see it. And I'm like, pretend this is the right house. I'm so sorry. I'll set up another showing, see if we can see it afterwards. Full panic. And we're torn. I thought she would want that one. I didn't think, I knew the other one, but I didn't think she would want that one. So we're touring around and she falls in love. They fall in love. So it all worked out and was fate, destiny, whatever you want to call it, because she ended up buying that house. That was the mistake house that I showed her. She bought it, renovated it, and home sweet home. So that was probably the best mistake that I have made on the job. Worst listing I ever had was on a small lake in the area, and I never got to meet the clients till right before closing, like the day of closing. But leading up to that, they were very, very particular about their belongings in the home and their security of the home. And frequently, before I had any showings there, I had to call, text, and email confirming that I was coming. They were there. They weren't, so it wasn't that I needed to arrange for them to leave the home, but I needed them to arrange to shut the security system off, the double security system off. So he would confirm, and still every single time I went to go show it, it wasn't off. And multiple times the police department would come and show up at the house with these buyers. And when I say this double security system, this made sure that everyone on the entire lake knew that the alarm system was off. So, I mean, people were just popping their heads out everywhere, looking to see what was going on. It was like painfully loud. And I would say that was probably the worst listing that I had, not just because of the security system, but everything that continued to spiral from that. And we made it happen, we made it close, but it was not the most enjoyable experience, I would say. But that was just the icing on the cake with that every time I went to go show it. Steph has a video of me that I will never let her share, of a property that had this massive carriage house, and we were filming all day video, lifestyle video, and a bird got in. And our clients weren't up often. So what happened is I found a rake and I started chasing and trying to help this bird leave the exits. And 15 minutes straight it took me to get this bird out, and Steph was helping me but also filming me. And gosh, if you saw that video, it is an embarrassment, but I really care about the animals. The other craziest thing I did for a listing, it wasn't to get the listing, it was just in preparation. Very picky on making sure things look a certain way and what I can do to help it show, to add that value. So I have taken my husband's backpack blower and ladder and brought it over to blow off roofs, pine needles and such from trees off roofs. So I've climbed up the ladder with the backpack blower, almost blew off of it at first, didn't realize how powerful it was. So I have done that for a listing. What else have I done? I've brought and planted plants. Like, I have filled my car to the brim of plants to put in planters to get a house ready for the market. And yeah, destroyed my car. Just soil everywhere. Not the best idea, but it made it look really pretty. So I would say it evened out and was worth it. It did sell. But there's many little stories like that where I got ambitious. I was going to take on the staging and had the client's permission and was a little over my head, but made it work with the team. So I would say that's the craziest thing I did for a listing. So hopefully you enjoyed my answers to your many questions. I'm happy to continue, and if you have questions for the team, they'd be happy to share their answers as well. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.